This meeting to order. This is the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting on Wednesday, December 14th, 2022. Welcome, one and all. Melissa, could you call the roll?
Yes. You can hear me? Okay. Chair McEwen.
Here.
Thank you. Vice Chair Schmidt.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Crampton. Thank you. Commissioner Gibson. Thank you. Commissioner McCarthy. Thank you. Commissioner Ono. Thank you. And Commissioner Spangler.
Here.
Thank you.
Great. We have a presentation on the status of Parks and Recreation Department operations for August through November of this year. And Karen, I believe you're going to be presenting.
Actually, thank you, commissioners. Good evening. Thank you for being here. The division managers will be making the presentation, and we'll be starting with Louie.
Okay. So we've had some promotions. We've promoted Walt Garcia to lead worker and Solomon Ortiz to senior park maintenance worker. We hired a new park maintenance worker, Jose Villa. Done a lot of graffiti removal citywide. Did some landscaping, planted some plants, did our usual beach prep. A lot of transient camp removal. One big camp accounted for 184 of those needles on site. The playground equipment was installed at Laguna Grande. This was probably in the queue for about 2.5 years. So we finally got that completed. We had parking day on Alvarado. The Christmas tree lighting, we got the Christmas tree decorations all up. We did some landscaping with Sergeant Court and the visitor center. We've done pretty good revamp over the visitor center, and on the rec trail near Fisherman's Wharf. We did some fencing for safety reasons for car weeks above the tunnel, and some barriers when the 3 irons were in town. And we did some brick repairs over Francis Elkins and Friendly Plaza. And there's our parking day photos. And forestry operations, we have a greenbelt coordinator. We promoted Dominic Capito. He's our new greenbelt coordinator. We did a lot of tree planting with various groups. 600 pines in Skyline Forest and 400 oaks at Oak Apple site. We did some Boy Scout projects and Stevenson projects for tree planting, and did some Bayview Academy outdoor education. A lot of tree inspections, a lot of tree removals. We got through the storm really good this last week. We had I think 4 trees down, no property damage. So that was good. And our cemetery operations as usual. Okay, we received a grant. I don't know, Karen, did you want to talk about this, or do you want to?
I could touch base if you'd like.
That's fine.
Sure. We did receive a $100,000 grant from the Monterey Peninsula Foundation. We actually didn't officially receive it until December, so technically it's outside of this reporting area, but I was kind of excited about it and wanted to let you know. And the money is earmarked to replace the pitcher's mound, the batter's box, and the turf areas around first through third bases. And then if funding is available but still left over, we have enough money, we're hoping to improve the dugout areas as well. So very exciting. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Little technical difficulties. We're still working through all of our Zoom and virtual meetings. So what's been happening since we wrapped up summer? We really didn't slow down at all. We had our first annual Halloween trunk and treat, which was in conjunction with the movie night held by the Monterey Fire Department and the Monterey Firefighters Community Foundation. And then we just did our community Thanksgiving drive-through dinner meal kit distribution. Field sports, El Estero, Hilltop, and Schulte. We're giving you updates about those as well. Next slide. So we also reviewed our programs, and we offer 298 programs for fiscal year 2022 and served 30,928 participants. And that means that those people registered for those programs, but they might have attended multiple times. So a gymnastics class, it's 4 sessions. We saw those people 4 times. So that's not necessarily an attendance number, it's a registration number. And also we've always closely evaluated our programs and our budgets, but we're doing that even more. So we're making sure that when we offer a program with our community centers and field sports, that they're covering at least their direct costs. Compared to 2019, we are doing very well. Our revenue is only down by just under $45,000 compared to 2019. We are expending less by just under $550,000, and our general fund subsidy is also less by about $500,000. And we're doing this with less than half of the full-time staff that we had in 2019. And then just a statement that this applies to all of our department communities and businesses thrive where Parks and Recreation Services are strong, because we're offering things for individuals that you meet their needs, whether it's being physically fit at the sports center, mental stimulation, something for the child to make sure that they have engaging opportunities while their parents are also addressing their child care needs. So we truly, every division of our department serves the entire community, as well as just our beautiful parks and beaches and everything that Parks does, where people are using our parks probably now more than ever because they feel safer being outdoors than they do being in confined spaces. So, next. So our first annual Halloween trunk and treat, which we've been dying to do for years, and we finally got to do it. We originally wanted to do it when COVID happened, and we just couldn't pull that together quite fast enough. So it was our first annual event. We shut down Pacific Street between Madison and Jefferson and had trunks there. And if you guys don't know, the trunk is basically the trunk of the car, and it's decorated in a theme. And kids get to go from trunk to trunk and get a treat of some sort. And it's a safe way to trick or treat. A lot of families definitely enjoy that because it gives them an opportunity to go and kids dress up in costume, have a good time. They're not going to strangers' homes. So we actually had a really good turnout for that. It was held on the Saturday before the weekend of Halloween. And we provided that along with other city departments. We had finance, we had community development, parks, sports center. They all had trunks. And then we also partnered with the Kiwanis Club of Monterey, the Old Monterey Foundation, My Museum, not Old Monterey Foundation, I'm sorry, Old Monterey Business Association and My Museum. They provided trunks. So we're hoping to expand that event for next year and have a few more trunks just to give that a little, few more things for kids to do. And we also brought in food trucks by local businesses so that there was opportunity for people to grab some snacks and some dinner and then stay for the movie, which was offered by the fire department and the Monterey Firefighters Charitable Community Foundation. And they showed the original Hocus Pocus, which was originally very popular this year. So one thing we have been thinking is it would be great, and I already checked, to have the Parks and Rec Commission provide a trunk next year. They'd all be interested.
It seems to be that it's something we can do as long as it's not discussing Parks and Rec Commission business. We'd love to talk more with you guys about that. And so we are definitely planning to expand the event for fall 2023 because it allowed us to offer something great for the community that was us working smarter, not necessarily harder, because we were able to partner with so many different departments, nonprofits, businesses, and just pull off a really good event. So the only thing could have been was just a little bit warmer, but it was great. Next. So Thanksgiving drive-through meals, meal kits. We had our 3rd annual drive-through event. For those of you who were on the commission when this first started, it came about because of COVID. And originally, it was because the fairgrounds dinner was not being offered, where they prepared a traditional Thanksgiving meal. It has what we thought would be less attendance or less this year has grown, actually, because in some ways, I think the economy, gas prices, grocery prices are actually in some ways having a bigger, more profound effect on people. And there was some COVID relief to those people who were maybe affected by that, but there isn't an inflation relief. And so we're really definitely seeing that. So our Thanksgiving meal kits were 1,000 meal kits that we had. Within less than 24 hours, we were 40% full. Within a few days, we were at 80%, and in about a week, we were completely reserved full. This year, we are full with less than a week of it being open. So we were full this weekend, but we didn't open it up until last Tuesday, completely full. And so, again, this is a partnership with the Food Bank from Monterey County, the Kiwanis Club of Monterey, Monterey Fire, DLI, Navy, and Marine Volunteers. It's just truly a collaborative effort, but we had cars just backed up, for almost a Highway 1 because there's that much of a need in our community. And we're serving also home deliveries for homebound individuals all the way from Carmel to Marina. So, next slide. So field sports is continuing to do very well. We finished up our Pee Wee and junior soccer leagues with 18 teams and 191 participants. We have just started this past weekend this weekend will be our first weekend. We had to postpone due to the weather of games, and they have been doing practices. And then again, participation in revenue continues to exceed fiscal year 19, which is kind of our benchmark right now. There's just some photos. We wrapped up the fall men's and co-rec softball with 44 teams and 660 players, which is huge. And adult baseball with 8 teams and 140 players. Right now, we're offering a small ultimate frisbee league that hopefully we can continue to expand that. And we're just, as often as we can be using our fields, we truly are. So, next slide. El Cerro is doing well. It is open and also functioning as the place where people in our community can do in-person registration for recreation programs because we're able to staff that building and also offer programs at the same time. So Melissa has been integral in making sure people have the service they need as well as me and his staff. We offered the first session of our Chess for Kids program. It's expanding. Our Monterey Peninsula Fencers Club is also there. Something's going on with that. So gymnastics enrollment is full. We may have 1 or 2 slots, but it's completely full. And then we are looking at, again, strong enrollment in preschool and dance, and we're continuing to expand our programs there. We just offered a Lego workshop, a 1-day workshop with Playwell Technologies, which was completely full. So it's another popular program. And then Hilltop is open based on its program schedule and continues to have extremely full classes serving youth all the way to seniors with our Pilates for bone health class and also modified Pilates. Monthly blood drives, there is one again this Friday. Guitar and piano lessons are full with wait lists. And our ballet classes and hip hop classes, which ballet has been with us since probably 20 more years. It is a program that moved from Archer Park Center to Hilltop. We're still having our nonprofit facility rentals. We can do that at all of our centers. We are holding off on having private party facility rentals simply because we just don't have enough staff to provide that extra service. Adult ceramics is full. It's offered Mondays and a separate class on Wednesdays, and that class is full as soon as enrollment opens. And preschool is getting close to being full. We always have a rebuilding period with kids moving on to kindergarten. And so we're just going to continue to work on expanding the programs and hours at Hilltop. Schultze is also doing very well. It has lots of programs there for seniors that meet their physical and mental needs and social needs. We are still offering our drive-through meals, which is currently extremely popular. I think we're the only local agency offering the drive-through meals. It's served those people who are still not comfortable in a congregate dining setting and also not homebound. Like they still have places to go, things that they need to do, so they're able to pick up a meal and heat it up later at home. And then, so we've served 921 individuals. And then we offer the senior walk-up produce distribution every Monday. And that is continuing to grow with the food bank. And then we're just continuing to expand as often as we can. You know, staffing, permitting is where we're kind of making sure we're staffing the building appropriately. So what's next? We have our community holiday drive-through meals on December 22nd. We will be focusing on recruitment for part-time and full-time staff in the new year. We will be going to City Council on December 20th to raise our salary ranges because minimum wage goes up to $15.50 January 1st. There is also some discussion at the state level to try and move minimum wage up to 18 an hour, probably fairly quickly. So we will have to address that as well. But this is a one-time adjustment just to make sure we are at the meeting minimum wage, but also hopefully still competitive towards the top end, because if you've noticed anywhere, there's a lot of people recruiting for part-time employees. It's very challenging. And if you want something more retail or food service, you can probably get a job starting at $18.50 an hour. And that might be great. We may not be as competitive with that, but we serve a different need. You want to be outdoors, you want to learn some social skills, you want to be able to actually have some skills that'll carry you through the rest of your life, especially. And we've got a lot of our former employees who have moved on as rec leaders, are now police officers, firefighters, recreation coordinators. They've all started with us in recreation. So I feel like we're doing a lot of like on the job, real life training that really help people grow and mature, because if you can handle children and do that well, it really gives you the skills that you need to do well in other aspects of your life. So we are expanding our programs based on our capacity and our budget. We are fine-tuning Smart Rec, which you'll see on the next slide, already starting planning for summer of 2023. And then very, very soon, we will be talking mid-year budget reviews. And then also eventually pulling together, probably mid-March, our fiscal year 24 budgets. So today, and that's the reason why things are a little bit crazy, we launched our new registration software. Huge endeavor. We encourage you to go online to our website, in particular the Monterey Sports Center's website, because they did have to launch first thing this morning at 5:30 a.m. and be ready to go, ready to check people in, ready to sell memberships, all of those things. And we're very happy to be working with a company called Amelia, and their software is SmartRec. So it's SmartRec powered by Amelia. We have 2 of their implementation consultants with us they leave tomorrow midday. We're going to be very sad to see them leave because we are still trying to work through some of our challenges, because it's very difficult to go from a system that is very complicated, but also something we've had for 20 plus years, I'd say probably even 30 years, to something completely brand new and a whole different type of technology. So it's really probably one of the biggest changes we've ever had in this recreation department in 30 years or more. So it was a process that took all of us about 3 years to get through. It took about 18 months to evaluate the software, and then another 18 months of implementation to rethink our policies, our procedures, to simplify, because we're going from a very difficult, complex system, and how can we make that as simple as possible but still do what we need it to do. So SmartRec is an e-commerce platform for activities designed to empower parks and rec agencies and their residents with seamless online registration and recreation management. So there is so much more that the client or the customer can do that they were not able to do before. They can create an account, they can verify their residency, they can make changes to their account. If they forget their password, they can get themselves back in. It's much more like online shopping. And you know, people with COVID got used to online shopping, being able to do things from home. Finally, I think we are getting there as well ourselves, like making things easy for our customers. We so far have not had any complaints with those people initially trying to register and create accounts. They didn't call us saying, I don't know what I'm doing, I can't understand it. They were able to figure it out at home on their own, which is huge, because sometimes they just give up and show up in person or call us, and we spend 20 or 30 minutes leading them through our current process. So this is huge, especially when we're dealing with less staff than we've ever had. So it's just, and we happy to show you the new system if you wanted to check it out. So the new system allows you to register and pay for Monterey Recreation and Monterey Sports Center programs, activities, and event permits, which is either something that is an in-person process or very much still managed through back and forth emails and things like that. You can view your schedule and your family schedule at a glance in the system. You can go in, you can print your receipts, you can print your invoices, you can do all of those things. It's always there for you. You can also, this is new, purchase Sports Center memberships and access your account information all in one online platform. Before, if you wanted a Sports Center membership, you had to physically go down to the front desk, sign all the paperwork, pay. You know, now you can do that all online. If you need to renew your account, you can renew your account online. If you want to sign up for monthly auto pay, you can do that online. So that was a huge process that we really had to work through with our finance and our city attorney to make sure we met all the requirements of the city, but also tried to make it as easy as possible for the customer. So it's going to be life-changing for us. We're super excited. And just want to say, you know, thank you to all the staff. It's been a huge team effort. We have a group of what we call super users, and that has been Melissa has joined us in July, Melissa Martinez, Sarah Reed, Nate Coda for the rec side, Andrea Willer and Andrea Diallo. They're a much smaller team, but they've really been the 2 core people at the Sports Center, really pulling this all together. So we're very excited. And again, we'd be happy to show you. And that's about it.
Yeah, so before I move on to this slide, I want to kind of keep talking about Amelia because I'm super excited about it and I want to share some information from our first day. Before I do that, I really have to thank Shannon. She has really been the backbone of this entire process, and she has taken the lead on all the technical aspects and the contracts and the purchase orders, and we would not be here today if she didn't work so darn hard to make this happen. So special shout out to Shannon for that. So we did launch this morning. We were all here at 5 a.m., including the recreation team, the sports center team. We were all here together. Didn't really know what to expect, so I just want to give you a few numbers. I actually could run these reports on my own. I've never been able to run a report out of WorkTrack on my own. I ran all of these reports on my own. Between 5:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m., we sold 45 memberships, all online. 27 of those were auto pay memberships and 18 were annual memberships. We sold 45 drop-in passes for folks that did come to the front desk and pay for that. That is still an in-person process. We sold 59 group swim lessons and 4 private swim packages. So now you can just go online, you can buy a pack of 4, 8, 12, 20 private swim lessons at a time. You can do that all online. We had 488 people check in through Amelia. We had almost an equal number of people check in through RecTrack because for the next 2 weeks we need to use both systems while we migrate everybody over. And we've had a $10,000 day already, and that a $10,000 day is our target. If we can hit 10,000, we're feeling really good. We hit that at 5 o'clock this afternoon, all through the new software. So could not be happier with how this is rolling out, and it's really due to Shannon's hard work and Andrea Diallo. Andrea Diallo built the online store for the Sports Center and made sure everything was configured perfectly, and that's why things are going so well today. So that's my 2 cents on Amelia. Jump to the next slide. So just a little update, you guys all know that we are working with a consulting firm called the Sports Facilities Companies to come in and work with us on how we can continue to rebuild the Sports Center back to pre-COVID or maybe even better. So they were out here on July 26th and 27th. They spent 2 full days with my team, with focus groups, community members, members of the Sports Center, non-members of the Sports Center, staff, and really tried to do a deep dive into our current operation. We have received a draft optimization report with recommendations on how we might improve some things. It is not finalized. We're still working on that with them. And we've also received a draft pro forma that basically says, if you do these things, this is what your revenue could look like in year 1, year 5, year 20. So we're not ready to share the details of those reports because they still are in draft form, but it's been a very good process. Next slide. We too had a Halloween event. We had our 3rd pumpkin plunge. The first 2 were pre-COVID. This was the first year we brought it back post-COVID. We changed a few things. We did it after hours this time. So we did it on October 29th from 4:30 to 6:30 when the building was closed. We found that that worked much better, both for staff and for the participants. All the pumpkins were donated. We had about 150 children registered to participate, but we probably had well over 450 people actually attend the event because mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever came and watched, you know, the child jumping in the pool, going on the whippet, getting their pumpkin. So really, really successful event. And we're looking forward to doing it again next year. We've got some projects completed since we talked to you guys last. So for those of you that are members and you've been here, you know our locker room floors were resurfaced. They look great. They're holding up. Kind of back to the quality of flooring that we had before the last little remodel. So that's holding up really well. We also redid the gym floor, and this time we went all the way down to raw wood. Typically, we do what's called a scratch and recoat, where we kind of just rough up the surface a little bit and put another layer on it. This time we went all the way down to raw wood. We did new lines. We simplified the game lines. We went with some different colors. It looks fantastic. Everyone really likes it. So that was an exciting project. And then we also did the same in Studio 2, where we sanded it all the way down to raw wood. These floors look brand new. They look like they were just installed. They're absolutely gorgeous. So we're happy about that. And we are continuing to chip away at our deferred maintenance. So the week between Christmas and New Year's, we will have Studio 1 closed. They are going to put motors on all of those windows that go around. Right now they're manual, and so depending on the class, we're either cranking those windows open or we're cranking those windows closed. They will all be motorized, which will be really nice for both the instructor of that class and our guests. We are replacing finally Studio 2 windows that have been in disrepair for quite a while. Those windows are on order, and as soon as we get word, we'll let you know when they're going to be installed. And then this is a big deal. The front entrance doors are the original doors from 30 years ago, and there's 4 doors that swing open and close. We're replacing that with an automated sliding front door, like you would see at a major grocery store. So when you walk up, you no longer have to pull the handle, push the bar, hit the auto assist button. It's just going to recognize that you're there. It's going to open up. So that will be a really nice aesthetic improvement, and it's also a really nice ADA improvement. We're currently compliant, but this will be much better. So we're excited about that. That's going to happen on January 5th. For those of you that are members, Ellen in particular, you will not be able to come through the front lobby that day. So we will have signage up in advance, and we'll let you know how we're going to bring people in, but it will not be through the front doors that day. Update on memberships. Since we talked to you guys last, we've sold almost 8,000 drop-in passes, 240 10-visit passes. We've sold almost 2,700 memberships. And our weekly attendance is up. We are up 27% compared to the last time we gave you guys an update. The last week of November, we actually had well over 6,000 people. So we're getting to about 850 people a day on average, which is, just slow, steady improvement. If we could get to close to 1,000 a day, that's where we would like to be. And right now we're getting close to 850. So that's really good improvement. All right, we are currently running 2 promotions. One promotion is for an annual membership. You can buy an annual membership for the price of 10 months. So it's basically like getting 2 months for free. We're also encouraging people to sign up for the auto pay. That's a continuous subscription type membership that never expires. It will only be canceled if you ask us to cancel it. And if you sign up for that in the month of December, you'll get your first month free. So those are 2 good, fun promotions for this month. Continued to rebuild our swim lessons. We provided 685 group lessons and over 1,000 private lessons. Our group lessons are still lower than we would like them to be, and it's 100% based on staffing. It's based on recruiting lifeguards that have the qualifications and can teach. It's just been every time we hire some new ones, a couple others go back to school or move out of the area. So We're constantly recruiting for that position, and we're getting new good people in, but then unfortunately other people leave. So we're going to keep working on that. Facility rentals, birthday parties have been huge. Most of them are pool parties on the obstacle course, as you can see in that picture. So we've done 26 of those birthday parties since we updated you last. 116 lane rentals and 5 gymnasium court rentals. We're working with Chartwell School right now. And we've been hosting a lot of their practices, and now we've been hosting a couple of their games, and that's going really well. And it's nice to bring the spectators in. You know, most of them, a lot of them have never seen the Sports Center before, so they're coming in to watch their student play a game, and they're checking out the Sports Center, and hopefully that translates into some more memberships for us. So that's going well. And then we had our fall sports camp. We had 33 participants during that Thanksgiving break. That's about average, not too far off what we used to do pre-COVID. Doing a lot more clinics. We had 77 participants in our basketball clinics. We've run 3 sessions of co-ed volleyball. Each session was full with 6 teams, and so that was a lot of fun. One of those sessions was private for Chomp. The HR director approached us and said, hey, we want to do something fun for our employees. Can you run a volleyball tournament or a volleyball league for us? And we said, absolutely. So Ryan Nunez, our sports coordinator, put that together, and they had a blast. And they want to continue working with us on doing fun stuff like that for their employees as a benefit. And then martial arts continues to be great with 133 participants. Personal training, we sold over 1,000 sessions. That continues to go well. Again, we're rebuilding that staff. It's been a little bit challenging, but we are slowly getting back to our numbers there, so that's really good. And then group exercise, we offer about 60 classes per week, 20,000 participants since we talked last time, which is about 21 participants per class, average class size. Some are huge, like Lori Tate's BOSU class, she might have 45, 50 people in that class. And then others are smaller, and that's okay, because we want them to be smaller, maybe a yoga class or something a little bit more intimate, bone builder or something like that. But if we can keep our class average above 20, we feel really good about it. All right, so what's coming up for us? We are finally bringing back the Youth Basketball League. It's been on hiatus for 3 years, and Ryan is working really hard on really reimagining that program and figuring out the best way to organize it so that we have the least amount of impact on our members who want to be in the gym as well. We currently have 236 children enrolled in that league. They had evaluations over the weekend. They were placed on teams, and they'll be starting practices, or they've already started practices this week. We'll be running winter sports camp, 2 weeks of winter sports camp. We currently have 57 children enrolled in that. And then we're going to continue to expand our volleyball, basketball clinics, expand our swim lessons as we can with the staffing. We're going to try to bring back our youth swim academy, formerly called Pre-Team. We're hoping to bring that back probably in February, and then continue to fine tune our group exercise classes. Lori Tate does a great job of really keeping her finger on that pulse and figuring out which classes are working really well and which classes might need a time change or an instructor change, or maybe even taken off the schedule. So that's something that she's always looking at, always working on that, always working on that. And I think that's it for the Sports Center.
And that concludes our presentation.
Thanks so much. I think we want to leave a moment for public comments. So, Nate, do we have any callers?
Yes, good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Let me first go over the process for the community to participate in this meeting. The City of Monterey is committed to the safe attendance of its public meetings. Masks are required for all who attend in person regardless of vaccination status, except those who are younger than 2 years old or have a medical condition that prevents wearing a mask. Also, please keep your phones and devices muted to prevent audio interference and feedback with this hybrid meeting. If you're not able to join us in person in the council chambers, there are 2 ways to virtually participate in this meeting. You may join the meeting directly on Zoom using the Zoom app, and you can also call into the Zoom meeting. To join the meeting on Zoom on your computer, smartphone, or telephone, use a link or phone number on the agenda at isearchmonterey.org. Since the meeting has started, you'll find the agenda under the recent tab. To call in to the Zoom meeting, dial toll-free 833-568-8864. Then enter meeting ID 160-922-2935 #. And if prompted to enter participant ID, press # again. Detailed instructions on using Zoom are available at monterey.org/public-meetings. To make a public comment using the Zoom app, you can virtually raise your hand by pressing the raise hand button on the bottom of your screen. If you dial in by phone, raise your hand by dialing *9 and then unmute yourself when called upon by dialing *6. You must do both. Public commenters will be muted until it is their turn to speak. I will call on each public speaker in the order of their hands raised. Please stay within the time limit that has been established for today's meeting, which will be shown using a countdown timer on the screen. If you are connected live on Zoom, the timer is accurate with no delay. Today's meeting is also streamed live on the city's YouTube account, which is accessible at youtube.com/City of Monterey with approximately 10-second delay. It's also on Comcast channel 25 with up to a 90-second delay. As always, we look forward to receiving your public comment. And these are the public comments on the presentation that we just gave. And we will start with public comment in the chambers. So if we have any public comment in the chambers, please approach the lectern.
Is there anyone here who would like to make a comment from the public? All right, I think we're clear.
And we have no hands raised virtually.
Okay, so if there's no more public comment, seems like not. Public comments are now closed. And I would just like to say I'm always astounded after these presentations. I'm amazed at how much you are all able to accomplish in moving forward with such limited staff and the difficulties over the last few years. It's just makes me proud. So thanks very much, one and all. And just one little comment. Louis, with all those needles, do you guys wear leather gloves, or are they metallic gloves, or how do you prevent getting hurt?
And we do wear rubber gloves, OSHA approved on that.
Okay.
And we try not to do too much with our hands. We try to use like litter pickers. So we're careful with what we do. We don't like it, but we're careful with what we do.
Thanks. Fellow commissioners, comments? Any other comments? All right, in that case, we'll move on to a review of potential neighborhood and community improvement program and CIP projects for 2023-2024. And Shannon, I think you have this one.
Gonna bring that up.
Okay.
So what we're doing is trying to get back onto a regular schedule with the NCIP program for, so typically in November or December, we would review potential projects with the commission. And then we would come back again in January or February and say, commissioners, which projects do you want us to submit for the next fiscal year? Or do you have any ideas? And we would make sure that those projects were submitted by the deadline, which is usually sometime mid-February to early March. So today we are presenting projects to you that you may have seen before, but we've gone through the list of projects that have been previously approved. And we picked out the ones that we feel are something that have been previously submitted by PRC. We feel like they're still relevant. And then depending on the direction of NCIP, then what they decide to do with those projects, are they going to leave them in the mix, or are they going to ask us to resubmit everything again? Because there are, if you remember, quite a few projects, which are on the next slide, I believe, that were previously approved but not funded. So that's just a review of all of the neighborhoods. But next slide. What we had, and we reviewed with you for 2023 budget cycle, NCIP cycle, was that we had about 120 projects that were defunded in 2020 or because of COVID. And then we had about 65 projects that were nominated in 2020 in screen. And then we had another about 20 projects that were nominated in 2022. And after review, we ended up with 154 projects, which NCIP reviewed and approved. I don't remember what their cutoff was, but reviewed and approved, and that left 154 projects, like 154 projects total, and they've all been ranked from the ones that NCIP felt were the most important and are most likely to be funded, with some cutoff projects. And then all the other ones are just kind of ranked by that. So what's happening now is NCIP, and we also have Tom Hardy here, our NCIP program coordinator. He might, I don't know if there has been a meeting since him and I last spoke, but we need to figure out what's going to happen with those 154 remaining projects. Will NCIP throw them back into the mix? Will we have to resubmit them? And then that will be something we'll determine. We'll know by then, by our next meeting in February. And then again, we'll be talking to PRC about, okay, which projects are you going to advocate for in front of NCIP as that process begins? And you know, what do we feel is our priorities? And then selecting some Parks and Rec commissioners to attend those advocacy meetings and voting nights as well. So we went through and picked projects from the list that are still relevant. And we're just going to quickly review them with you. And then we have a couple of projects that we might want PRC to consider submitting. And again, this is just a presentation for public comments and your comments. And there's no vote required tonight. That will be in probably January or February, when we make sure we know what we either have to submit or advocate for. So next slide. So Louis might want to have more background about this, but this is a project for the Spray Avenue tot lot resurfacing, Del Monte Beach neighborhood, project 5, and it was submitted in 2020. And it is a project that we feel would be an improvement to that park. So Louis, do you have anything else you'd like to add about the Spray Avenue tot lot?
No, it was put in by the neighborhood. It's the surface has gotten a little bit hard, so they wanted to put in for new service, possibly something like we did at Jack's tot lot.
Next slide. So this is a project that we submitted, Parks and Rec Commission, Parks and Rec staff, we submitted in 2020 for the Monterey Vista neighborhood. And that is to upgrade that basketball court. It really has fallen into a state of disrepair, and potentially expand that slightly by extending it and utilizing all of that extra space that's there with the I think it's kind of like wall ball or something right there, and just really upgrading it because it is the only basketball court in this side of town. We have the Foam Street, which is on the other side of Lighthouse Tunnel, and we have the Montecito Park, which is on the other side of, Del Monte and Fremont, but this is kind of one of our only basketball courts in this side of Monterey. And then Hilltop has a basketball court as well, but that's again in Monterey neighborhood. So next slide. So Hilltop Park Center was a phase project. It was previously approved for a study and design, which was phase 1. So it's something we can consider what we can do for that center. We are focusing our efforts on the Hilltop Park Center, the El Estero Park Center, and the Schulte Park Center because of their programmability and their space. So there, with more spaces, more rooms, we can offer things at multiple times or at the same time. And so this center really does need a lot of attention. It was a former school by MPUSD school. It was then used by the Defense Language Institute as their book depository. And then the city came into that property in the 1980s and really just kind of did a really quick I wouldn't even say it, almost, it looks like a school still. If you go in there, there's sinks in every room, bulletin boards in every room, chalkboard. It really is still very much a school. People walk in. And so we've done everything that we can to use it as much as possible, make it as inviting as possible. But it is still needing some improvements, needs to figure out how we can best serve the community. So it's to have issue an RFP for a study to get public input, and then from that public input, come up with the design for that facility. Slide. So the other is the El Estero Park shade structure. It's a community-wide project that was submitted on behalf of PRC and the department in 2020. We have a large group barbecue area there that can accommodate 200 people. It's right on the back end of the Solcito Ballpark. And we do have very few park picnic facilities with shade structures, and it's something that's needed, whether it's the sun or the mist or those type of things. It's an amenity that is very helpful. Plus, it's also on the back end of the ball field. That would be another benefit. So that is proposing a shade structure for that location. The next one is Jack's Park, infield artificial turf. So if you remember, we, for Solcito Ballpark, that was kind of spearheaded by the baseball, Monterey High Baseball and Save Our Sports. They went out for some funding, their NCIP put in some matching funds, and they first upgraded the infield. That was the first project. The second project then was to do the outfield. With Jack's, we're limited by rain. It really does close the field pretty quickly. The drainage isn't great. If we had an artificial turf infield, that would allow for more playable days, which are at a premium for our two largest ballparks. It would be also an enhancement because we have a lot of girls softball and those type of games there as well. We're still proposing at this point to just do the infield artificial turf. We would like to keep a natural grass outfield, but that was the first to address the infield, which really, when rain happens, that is the first field that we have to close. We can usually still play at Solcito under most conditions, other sort of like extreme downpours or lightning, but Jack's just does not allow that. The other one is our El Estero Park Center play equipment. And to upgrade that, that is the oldest pieces of play equipment in the city. And we just have not been able to get those done. It's going to be a bigger project than just replacing the play equipment because of what is underneath that. If anyone remembers, that was a swimming pool. So Louis might be able to add a little bit more context to that, but it does make the project a little more expensive than just going in and replacing the play equipment. It's addressing the surface underneath and everything that's underneath that. So Louis, anything to add about that?
No, I think you said it. Yeah.
Thank you. The other part of it is the El Estero Park course upgrade, which is, I believe it's 3 stations around the lake edge of El Estero Park. And those are, I would say, 30 plus years old, and there have been lots of improvements in park courses. We feel like this is still a very good location. We had some projects being submitted where people recommend throwing some pull-up bars at various parks. But really, this is a great location. It's just probably time to upgrade that equipment. Slide. So Slisso Ballpark, we do have the grant funds for addressing the batter's box and the pitcher's mound and the bases, which was mentioned in our previous update. But one other thing that we've submitted back in 2020 was to address the lighting. There are lots of improvements in lighting. They're more efficient, yet brighter, but also focus the light more directly onto the field. So there's less backwash, I believe it would be called. And it would just actually improve the safety of that field. Right now, we had to go in and I think we replaced about 20 lights all at one time. There's probably now still more lights that need to be replaced, but we would be helping with safety, with energy costs, and then it would actually allow us to turn on and off the lights remotely, which would greatly help us with staffing. We don't have to have a staff physically go down there with a key and unlock and then lock everything up at the end of the night. And if some reason the lights were left on, it's very easy to turn those off without requiring a staff person to drive in and physically turn those off. So that would be another benefit. Next. The other one you guys are probably very familiar with, and that is the Rec Trail study. It's considered a community-wide project 50 in 2020, and I believe it was submitted by us or maybe even Dennis submitted it. And we really feel like this is the best way to have a true understanding of what is happening on that rec trail and if there's anything that we can do to address the safety concerns and the congestion, especially around that lighthouse curve. But there's some changes that are coming for the rec trail as well with e-bikes and things like that. So we feel like a rec trail study is the right way to go versus trying to find easy fixes that we don't know if they're going to work or not. It's just someone's best guess that they might work. But I think we need to have a really clear understanding of what the issues are. So then Schulte Park, which is the foam and drake design and renovation. We saw this in our park tour. This is the back corner at Foam and Drake. And we originally submitted it in 2020 as one big project. For fiscal year 23, we decided to phase that. So phase 1 would be a design, and then phase 2 would be a renovation. And you did see that on the park tour, and the idea really is to create a space that is an extension of that center, also blends well with the design of that center, the historic aspects there. I really truly see it as some sort of like a friendly plaza type layout and design that would also allow us to use that for events and classes and just an additional space where seniors feel comfortable, sitting outside, reading a book, socializing, those types of things. So that's an underutilized portion of the park that really could use a face, more than just a facelift, but it would be very, a good thing for that location. Project. So the next one is Monterey Bay Park Restrooms Phase 3. This is something that has been in front of the Parks and Rec Commission before. It's been in front of us a couple of times. We even looked at a layout and a location. So it's currently citywide project 69. The original project was submitted in 1999. And we did go through phases 1 and 2. We do have a project for a restroom study. I'm not totally sure if that was funded with this cycle. I think with it was. So even with or without a restroom study, that location needs a restroom. It's heavily utilized. We have a restroom access at Monterey Bay for kayaks, but it really isn't enough. And otherwise, the option is they have to walk to Municipal Wharf 2. And with the amount of events and people using our beaches and all of that, it really would be extremely helpful to have a stationary restroom. Basically at the Monterey Bay Kayak, El Estero area. And we had actually looked at a potential design and location. And I think we even took a tour of it at one point, definitely well before 2019, maybe 2017 it was. So those are projects that we have seen before that were previously approved. And then we have, I believe, 2 more projects that we would recommend considering for submitting. So that would be the next slides, I believe. Do we freeze? No, there's 2 more, or at least 3 more. They're hidden. Okay, so community-wide, we are considering potentially 2 new projects that maybe the Parks and Rec Commission would like to submit for fiscal year 24. This is just a recommendation. So the next slide is potentially looking at the El Estero Park Center and some improvements there. It previously had a full redesign approved, but I would say that redesign is probably 20 years old and is no longer relevant. But that there's a lot that needs to be done to the building itself, to the space, our use of it, the parking. I mean, there's quite a bit of things. What we're proposing though is not a multi-million-dollar project, because if we really were to truly address El Estero Park Center, it would be a full design and almost a complete reconstruction, remodel, like down to bare bones and build it back up. We just know that the city is not in a position to, look at some capital improvement like that. And, we have the fire station to look at, the library, lots of facilities that need improvement. What we're hoping to do is make some improvements to that center that would extend the life of it, that would make things more attractive to the customer, helpful to the staff, reimagining those spaces, upgrading them, those type of things, without having, because we just know the realities of it. We're not looking at a full redesign, extensive renovation. So that is a proposal there. The next slide would be to maybe consider looking at the Monterey Sports Center courtyard, which was something we did look at before. We did present to PRC. I don't believe we submitted it. And that is to kind of address the outdoor space, there is a substantial outdoor space in front of the sports center, and making that more of a potential gathering space, sitting space. Maybe someone could have a cup of coffee there, have some attractive bike storage, those type of things. Also, consider the drought. Right now there's, I believe, 3 patches of grass, which require landscaping, mowing, water. what could we do there that would make it just as attractive without having to, use so much water. So that was a potential project to consider, as well as kind of upgrading facelifts for the courtyard and utilizing that space more programmatically. So Andrea, do you have anything else to add about that? She's still here? She might have stepped out. So that's just something we can consider, and you guys can discuss tonight, but we wouldn't actually be voting on until February. So we'll bring that back to, does Tom, do you have any? Okay, thank you. So we'll open it up, we'll give it back to Ellen for public comment, and then commissioners.
Madam Chair, you're speaking, I not hear you. But if you would like to make a public comment on this item, press the raise hand button on the bottom of your screen. And if you would like to make a public comment in your chambers, please approach the lectern.
Is there anyone here who would like to make a public comment?
I'm Lee Whitney from the Glenwood neighborhood. I am the NCIP representative for that neighborhood. Also president of the homeowners association. We took all those 154 projects that were passed or not funded or whatever. We did it. And we studied them, and we took time, and we went on field trips, and we did voting on it. And those you can watch those on the city channel to see how we vote on it now. So we did take all of them, even the ones that were back. We got some that were like 20 years old on the books. We've looked at all of those and come forth with what the projects we thought would be the ones beneficial to the city. And we had also go by the direction that the city council told us, which was their priorities. So, I'd like to see some of your projects go forward. My project I'd like to see go forward is the old Capitol. There are several of us on a committee that we've been meeting regularly up until COVID. We have ideas. We've got some stuff where we can get private funding, but we need for the second time to get through NIP. It was passed as project number 3 to spend another $250,000 cleaning it up. We've got to get to the point where we quit cleaning it up and we do something. So now we're waiting on Parks and Recs. Tom can tell you when the general plan money will be coming to you guys. The general plan for the old Capitol was project number 22 in there. And if you need to find where your project ratings got, Tom can give them all to you. I speak to you tonight as only the representative, not as the NICP committee. So, thank you very much.
Thank you for all your good hard work. We appreciate it. I'm sure. Any other comments? All right. Nate, are there any hands raised?
There's no public comment, no virtual public comment.
Okie doke. All right. How about commissioners?
Sense of they'll have be at least as much as there was last year. Okay.
There's no button. Thank you. Sorry. My name is Tom Hardy. I'm the NCIP program coordinator this year, and we will be the question was about the budget this year. We will not know that for several months. I would assume that it would be similar to last year's that we received, which was a little over $5 million for the program. So that's what will go on. The way that the program works, just to refresh your memory from last year, is the NTIP committee accepts nominations for projects throughout the year. We look at the projects that are submitted by mid-February. There will be an established cutoff date that will be published. We haven't met yet. That'll be January 12th, I think, is what we're looking for the first meeting. So we'll establish all that after January meeting. The committee then reviews the projects, and then we vote on the projects, and they get ranked in order of how many votes each project receives. Then we look at the funding and see how many of the top projects get funded. Last year, of the 154 that we voted on, 30 of the projects were approved. And back one more step. NCIP makes a recommendation to council. So we had a list that we presented to the council. They are the ones who determine how much funding to allocate. And there were questions at the time about the contingency and all that. City council figured all that out. We ended up with 30 projects that were approved last year and 5 on the cutoff list. So that's 35. So about 120 still, 119 did not get approved that were on the list last year that were voted in. So that's the process. We don't start out saying, oh, you know, we have $5 million this year. What are we going to do with it? We go through, there are 15 neighborhoods, and each neighborhood gets one vote. At the end of the night, we'll just sum up the votes that are received and then figure out what the priorities of the projects are. So it's kind of it's actually really exciting, but you don't really know which projects are going to come in until the votes are cast. You really don't. I couldn't have told you 2 hours before the meeting. I couldn't have told you 2 minutes before the meeting which ones would be approved and which ones would not. So, but I don't know if that answers. Well,
It does.
one more question.
It's like things are coming back. So I would hope it would be at least the same level of funding, if not a little bit more.
Yeah, the reports are TOT is doing well, and we hope that it continues. You know, there's people talking other things or down the pipeline, you know, regarding the economy, but what we're hearing now is TOT is doing well.
Okay, that helps.
Thank you. Any further commissioner comments?
Lucy has her hand raised.
Lacey.
Hello, thank you so much for that great update on the potential things that we can look for Parks and Rec. And I heard mention of the ability to see a ranked list of the 154 projects. Is that right?
There is, and you actually might have already seen that list back in August when the project came to us, but we can resend it to you because we're ranked 1 through 154.
Okay.
And, yes, and we know that the capital site rehab was funded and the study, and we're fully supportive of a study for the old capital site because we feel it needs to be carefully planned, not just, you know, oh, let's do this. We think it would be a nice thing without, you know, and then it ends up being in conflict with something else later down the road. So we're very much wanting a master plan for that park. And we just, I think, last I heard was we just didn't know if we were, NCIP was going to stick with the ranking of what they currently have, or if they were going to re-rank or ask for projects to be resubmitted. Because again, I showed you an example of one that was submitted in 1999. There are projects on there that are quite old. So are they going to stay in the mix, or are we looking at re-evaluating everything? So I don't know
if you guys made a decision yet. Not yet. So Lacey, were you asking about the 154 project ranking so you can see like what the top ones were already funded? Or did you just see the whole in general for future reference?
Yeah, I was just curious for future reference.
Okay, great. We just want to make sure we send you the right list.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It is also available on the UCIP page website, Monterey.rt/NCIP. Once you click over there, and then somewhere in there, I know we have a list of all projects and folks that we received. And then also that were funded, and then the cutoff projects as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, public comments are closed, commissioner comments are closed. We will move forward approving the minutes. Were there any questions or comments? We're approving first the regular meeting, which was on August 10th, 2022. And then after that one, we'll do the field trip, which was September 14th. Any questions? Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion to move to approve the August meeting? All right. Any okay, I guess I say all in favor, sorry. All in favor. Okay, any opposed? All right, so it's been approved. Do I have a motion to approve the field trip meeting? Okay, all second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so both of our sets of minutes have now been approved. And now we have time for public comments. Any person may address the commission regarding an item that's not on the agenda. There is a 3-minute time limit. Is there anyone here who would like to speak further? Nate, do you have anyone on the line?
Madam Chair, there is no raised hands for general public comment.
All right then. So public comments are closed. Let's see, our next item is to review and approve the Parks and Recreation Commission schedule for this year coming up, 2023. And Karen.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. We just have scheduled out the meetings for the entire year as we've done in the past. And as we've been doing, we'd like to continue to meet either every other month or quarterly as needed. But we do like scheduling the meetings so that we have them as we need them and we have that flexibility. But we also would like to respect your time. So we have proposed that we will like to have meetings scheduled for each month so that we have that flexibility to meet when it is best used for the commission and for the business of the Parks and Recreation Department. But we also are mindful of your consideration. So if you have any feedback and would like to suggest a different schedule, we're open to that. But otherwise, we would like to schedule it once a month with the understanding that we'll meet every other month or quarterly as needed and go from there. Any questions?
Yeah, okay. And so let's see, we need to vote on this. Who would like to make a motion? Oh, wait, public comments? Yes, are there any public comments on our schedule for next year? No. Nate, are there any public comments on our schedule for next year?
We have no, public comment at this time.
All right then. Public comments are closed. So all those in favor, who would like to make a motion to approve the schedule of the Parks and Rec Commission meeting for 2023? Second? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so it has been approved. Well, all right, we've heard so much about what's been going on, and I can't imagine there's any more to say, but you never know. So we'll start at the top here. Karen, anything else?
Yes, we've given you a lot of information, so I will keep it very brief. Just thought I would give you a little update about Laguna Grande Regional Park and the JPA work that has been going on there. There's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes. We haven't had a JPA meeting in quite some time, but we are hoping to have a JPA meeting in the early spring of 2023. There has been a tremendous amount of environmental work that has taken place. Consultants, we have multiple consultants that are doing that work for us, and then they have devised some preliminary plans for our review, and soon they will be out to the public for public comment and public review. There will actually be a public review period for that plan. So we're very excited that we're making progress on that. There's a lot of updated maps and things like that too that will make it very descriptive. So I think you'll be pleased with what comes out of that work effort. It's just so behind the scenes that sometimes people feel like the process is moving very slowly, which with environmental work, it does tend to move slowly, but we are making progress on that front. The last thing I'll say is that we're tremendously proud of this team. They continue to outdo themselves, all of you, by reimagining and reinventing all of our programs and services to exceed all of our past performance. They've just been doing such a tremendous job, especially this new software. This is truly going to be transformational for our department, and I'm just excited to experience the future as it unfolds. And finally, I'd like to wish all of you here and everyone online a very happy and healthy holiday season.
Thank you. I think we all feel that way. Shannon?
So, I mean, we did have a very big update, but I just want to say, thank you, the recreation team, and we've been working very closely with the sports center team. We're still not done yet, but we are seeing kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. We hope that it's going to make our summer registration, which is our busiest time of the year, also a whole new experience for not only staff, but for the customers as well. Online, basically anything can be done online, and we can check people in by iPad and, just really embracing technology. So we're hoping that that also reduces our paper, reduces our staff time, but it really wouldn't have been possible. Like I might have done contracts and, purchasing and purchase POs and stuff, but it's been a team effort. Melissa has jumped in and learned direct track very quickly, and Sarah was helping her with that. But now it's a matter of like, okay, how can we get all of our programs and everything into the new system? And Nate, Coda, and everyone, we attended, both us and the Sports Center staff attended 2 days of training, Monday and Tuesday, and then jumped right into, we're going live. So today was our first day. We're still not done with that, but we hope over the next couple of weeks we can at least get things into some sort of more manageable, where we understand how the new process works, and then just keep moving forward from there. So it's just everyone is jumping in and learning new things, and we hope really to get some good feedback from the community as well, that they are embracing this. We hear a lot of things about our current system. We would love to hear their feedback on our new system. And it really just would not be possible without everyone in the recreation team. On top of trying to implement new software, they are doing all of their regular duties. And community centers and operating programs, and, you know, Nate's doing recreation supervisor, but also trying to manage the Elistero Park Center, and Sarah's jumping in and helping us, as well as managing Schulte, and everyone is, you know, is doing something, and just pitching in. So it's been great, and I hope we can all have a good holiday and maybe a little bit of a break and some rest, because I think we all need it. But yeah, it's not one person, it's everyone.
Well, it's a fine team is what it is.
Team. Yeah.
Andrea?
Andrea had to step out. She's at the sports center and dealing with the, you know, software there.
Yeah, forgive me. Louis?
I am just gonna pass and say happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioners? Dennis?
No, just to reiterate what people have said, I mean, you guys are amazing in terms of just keeping moving forward and keeping us going. And, you know, at some point, you know, it would be great if it just all worked and you could push a button and just relax a little bit. I know that's sort of facetious, but you're sort of getting there with software that's going to take on a load of some of the stuff that you've been doing, you know, manually, physically, et cetera. So anyway, just kudos to the group.
Christian? Any comments?
Yeah, sure. Probably just copy what Louis says, but I do want him to know that if there is anything that he needs from us, I mean, just the fact that the duties he has to do in the parks department, cleaning up our parks, and as beautiful as they are, but also having to deal with more hazardous situations. It doesn't go unnoticed. If there's anything he needs, please voice it. But you all do a great job. And, happy holidays. Thanks for doing what you guys do.
Lacey?
Yeah, I just want to say congrats on reaching this point, SmartRec software, because I know it's been a long time coming, and it's a big deal that you were able to kick that off so successfully today. Hearing that the Sports Center had people actually engaged with that was really neat to hear. And also to hear that there's over 30,000 participants. That's really incredible, considering the size of our city. What a reach this organization has. So thanks again, and yeah, I look forward to working with you guys in the new year.
Donna?
Yeah, I'd say I'm looking forward to just zipping through when I enter the sports center with my new clothes.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. But yeah, I think it will really reduce staff time. They can spend their time doing other things. And I guess the only other thing is we haven't talked about it, but we're trying to get a project done on native plant demonstrations at the fire station in Montecito. So fingers crossed, we'll get it done in the next couple of months. So I'm hoping. Anyhow.
There's 14 celebrations in December below. Holidays for us to commemorate. I want you to know that we celebrate what you do every day, because what you're doing is what they're doing with the new fusion energy. You are creating something out of so little, and I can't wait for you to get more resources from the city to create that much more. Happy holidays.
Thank you so much. You know, it comes from the bottom of our hearts. And I think it's been a real struggle over the last few years. And even though we're not doing the struggling, seeing how hard you have been working and the long hours has been a little bit heart-wrenching. So I'm really, really hoping that maybe with Amelia added to the team, that will, as you said, ease things up a bit. Let's see. The next regular meeting of Parks and Rec Commission is for Wednesday, January 11th, 2023. Okay. We're adjourned. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Visit a park.
Yeah.
Recording stopped.